Warren's opinion and say it's wrong, you
No,
know.
no, I'm not a lawyer, and I didn't say that.
Well,
but
exactly, I just
what
felt that
what
you should have hard copy of what the opinion was, since the action was taken by this board.
Well-
You know, we're always asking town council for opinion, and when he gives it, you're questioning why I asked for a copy of it.
What I find eerily odd is that for the previous 20 years, that this goes through, and then, you know, the next stage there's like that cathartic moment, and then, you know, Kurt, the first selectman gets involved, and yet now there's a big firestorm over this. And I feel, in my opinion, that absent the name attached to it, this would have gone through seamlessly, and in good faith, and you said it in good faith, and the first selectman said it at the first selectman meeting. He feels that no one, you know, egregiously did something, you know, malice aforethought, and this was done with good intentions. And I mean, we're all pretty bright people, and I just find that this really, it doesn't really look good, it doesn't smell good, and it's just not good.
Well,
Okay.
I can't really comment on that part of it, I was not here at the time. And it was not on the agenda, I don't know what took place, I just read the minutes. Someone said I should have looked at the tape, I did not look at the tape. I did not want to get involved in it because I was not here, unfortunately. You know,
But
I don't want to comment on what
okay,
took place
but
at
I
that
will say though,
meeting.
and to your point once again, and you make a good point, that this, it wasn't on the agenda, but neither was it posted for Officer Martin. It was under other business, and it was added. So that was it. Couple other questions. Now, the first selectman, he makes a phone call or emails the person at the Connecticut Municipal Employee Retirement System. And I'm just curious to know, and this, maybe we need a legal opinion on this. He, as making a unilateral decision by calling that person, and he told me that he did. I just want to know, and maybe we can get a legal opinion, on whose authority did he do that?
I have no idea. Again, when I found out all about this, I was recuperating in Shady Knoll, going through therapy because I had a hip replacement. I had no idea of what went on until the next day, and I was told that this particular situation happened the night before. And I said, fine. And then I found out that the first selectman said that, I guess maybe a day or two later, I found out that,
He was told the next day. He told me that.
who told you that?
Kurt.
Yeah, but I didn't know Kurt did this the next day. I had no idea that this was done.
No.
I'm sitting in, having therapy in, not even at home, and all of a sudden I get all these calls about what should be done, what happened, Kurt did this, you know, that the.
Well, you're saying some.
And the
there's
board of,
different-
and that Kurt, you
What?
know, that we got a legal opinion. I said, well, my gosh, if this took place, then I want a copy of that legal opinion. So I called him from Shady Knoll, I'll be honest with you. I called him several days later from Shady Knoll and said, look, I understand you gave a legal opinion to the first selectman. I want a copy of it. I think we deserve a written copy of it so that we have it on record, because that's the action that took place at this meeting. Now, I don't feel that I acted wrongly by requesting this. I did this after the fact when I found out that this opinion was out in the public. And I wanted a hard copy of it.
Well, who actually asked
And now,
for it?
as far as the first selectman, I can't speak for him. I never talked to him about this.
Could I ask-
was,
And the thing too is that, so my understanding is that he offers up an email or a phone call to this person up in Hartford.
Next day, you said.
No, not
No,
the next day,
no.
but I'm assuming that once he talked.
I have no idea when he did it.
But I guess that there was no vote with the Board of Selectmen, that he just did that. I mean, and I just wonder the authority.
Well, I think maybe that question should be asked of the first
And then my
selectman.
last, and then I'll stop. I just wanna know what,
Why are you asking me? I have no
you're
idea
the
what
chairwoman,
he did.
you're chairwoman of the board. I'm asking.
And I'm telling you what I did. The only thing I got involved with, I was not involved in what action took place. I was told what action took place, and several days after that, I was told that there was a ruling by the town attorney, and I picked up the phone and I called Warren and I said, I understand you made a ruling. that you gave to the first selectman, can you please give us a copy so that I can put it on the agenda so that the rest of the board will have a copy of it? That was my whole thing on this whole operation. And I felt as chairman, I had a right to ask for that ruling because this action was taken at this board. I was not present, I don't know what went on. And if there was a ruling saying that whatever went on is null and void, I want a copy of it, and I think every single one of us sitting at this table deserves a copy of it. Now, if you disagree with it or disagree with what the selectman did, well, then that's his problem, or that's the attorney's problem. I don't see why the questions are being asked me,
You're the chairwoman
because
of
I
the
don't know
board.
what was behind what
Okay,
was
my
done.
last request, my last special request, is that find out what the legal costs were of this transaction, through phone calls, rendering the research, the legal opinion.
I have no idea. I made the phone call on my own phone.
Right, but if you're calling it.
So that's and if he had given this opinion to the first selectman, I imagine all he did was send me a letter, and we made copies here of the letter he gave. Kurt.
He didn't do it for free.
I don't know,
Can you just ask
it
Kurt?
wasn't coming out of our budget, it came out of the selectman's budget, I imagine.
Okay, could you just ask him though what the cost was for this research and for this letter, please? Thank you. I'm also, I have no more questions.
And I'm not quite sure what that's going to do, because that has to do with your first selectman, whether he wanted to impose that cost. I mean,
For my own edification, please,
Okay.
thank you.
I would almost respectfully say, if you have concerns, that maybe you should go to the Board of Selectmen's meeting and question under public comment, question the first selectman what the cost was, because it was his doing,
Okay.
you know.
So do
But
you,
if you want, I will request this in writing,
thank you.
and, but I do feel that, you know, whatever concern you have has to do with the first selectman, and that the questions should be directed at him rather than to me. But so be it. I will get that information for you.
Thank you.
I am sure under FOI it's available.
But that'll cost the town more money.
Well, you requested me to do this, and if it costs more money, do you want to take a motion on whether or not I should request this information from the first selectman? Do we need a motion for me to request this information?
All you have to do is call and ask her, say, as the chairwoman of the board, the commissioner asked me what the cost
Okay,
was.
but now you just said that it's gonna cost more money, so,
If
I
you
mean,
ask Kurt,
don't impose this on me that I'm costing the town money on this. I have nothing to do with it. It's your request.
let's be clear on this. First of
Yes,
all,
let's be clear on it. Why are you insisting that I'm in the middle of this when I had absolutely nothing to do with it? I was not here when the action was taken. I heard about the action and I said, oh, well, okay, surprised, but okay, fine, it is what it is. Then several days later, I get told, guess what? There's a ruling that it's null and void. As chairman, because I'm chairman of this board, I feel we need a copy of the ruling and the story. And I requested it, and I got it.
But if you ask Kurt what the cost is, Kurt won't charge you. All you have to do is ask Kurt what the cost was, that's all. I didn't ask you to call Warren again.
No, I'm not calling Warren.
So then
I don't
therefore-
plan to call Warren.
It's
I'm
a-
not asking him what he
Come
charged
on,
for
Lucy,
his.
let's move
It's a
on.
moot
Well,
point.
this
Enough
is
of
it.
that.
You know, this is a moot
Same
point,
thing over and over.
on what it costs for this,
I just
What-
don't, I just
had
don't want
nothing to do
comments.
with it.
I just, for the sake of transparency, I realize there's members of the press out here. The day after this vote, I'm not sure how, people realize how the municipal employees retirement system was notified. As the vice chair, I emailed the administrator of the municipal employees retirement system. I advised that person by email, my personal email, that I'm vice chair of the Board of Police Commissioners, and the previous night that we had approved an extension for Sergeant Goodmaster. As part of that email, I CC'd the chief of police, and he's very verifying I got it, and I also.
And I
CC'd
never got a
Did-
copy of
did
that.
CC you know what, I didn't have your personal email address, so
I
wanted
agree,
to.
but it
Yeah,
should have
did
been
you
put in
send
the
a copy
minutes.
to,
I sent,
Selectmen?
yes, I did.
Well, that must have been where he started.
I sent it to Kurt, yeah, I'm gonna explain, I sent it to Kurt Miller, I sent it to the chief. A short time later, I got a return email, and I ended my email, what further action is required on our part for this particular motion? A short time later, I got a return email from the assistant, or the pension board, or the pension administrator, notifying me that no further action was required on our part. Apparently, the way I understand it, it's normal protocol for him to receive it. I explained who I was, vice chair of the Board of Police Commissioners. At no time in any of my emails did he communicate back to me that we are not of the authority to make this particular motion. He just said no further action is required. I'm assuming that the motion carried for them, or the vote carried. Short time later, I was CC'd an email from the first selectman notifying the pension board administrator, or the pension administrator, to basically halt the process due to the fact that the town attorney was looking into this particular issue because there may have been some legality involved. He didn't specify what exactly it was. I did not know at the time. It was the state statute that gave the Board of Selectmen the authority as a legislative body. I thought it was some other issue. But basically, he advised the administrator to basically.
So basically what you're saying, after all this communication back and forth, it appears that the first selectman contacted.
The first selectman, based on my CCing him, our approval,
Yeah,
basically told the system, or the pension administrator to halt the process.
so he must have, from that point, he had to initiate
Now, I just have a question, because I'm relatively new to the board, and some of you have been here for a while. In the past, with the previous motions, I know we have at least 2 of them that were passed. How was the communication made from the police commission to the pension administrator? Do we have any idea how that
No
happened?
idea.
Well, I
Because
think,
was
you know,
not chair at the
basically,
time.
John, I think basically you had a different first selectman too.
Yeah, no, of course, right.
And that, I mean,
I have no idea of what the process was, because at that time, I was not chair,
You're not sure.
and I was not privy to that,
Okay.
so I have no
well,
idea.
it appears after all this, what we're going through, that we do not have the authority.
Right.
You know, and it has to go to the Board of Selectmen. And I agree with you, it's been done in the past, but that doesn't mean, you know, it's the right way to
Somebody
do it.
caught it this time, I
That's
mean, I
right.
don't know who did and why or what happened,
Do
but
we have any communication with the Board of Selectmen to know what actual criteria they're gonna have? You know, I know the Attorney Holcomb cited a case, Jankowski versus the city of Maryland. He basically said they upheld the mandatory retirement age at 65. But if you actually research this particular case, there's some other caveats that go to it. The fact that by charter, the fireman had to retire, by town or city charter, the fireman had to retire at age 65, which holds a lot of weight. And also the fact that there were some medical issues too.
But I think also, John, you gotta look at the town charter, section 7.1.
Mhm.
It clearly defines that the legislative power of the
Oh,
town.
of course.
Yeah, and they have their charter, we have ours. They very well, the police commission could have the authority to do it. According to this, our charter says no, we don't, so.